Hi, today I'm releasing a personal space where you can find everything that you've understood, learned, seen, and more on this channel. So the space is holymathradio.org, holymathradio.org, and there basically is everything that you've seen with the main videos, what's interesting about them, the definition of the mathematical trinity, which is the main mathematical concept that we've been developing. You have the images that you've seen on the CTMU lessons, and you also have a GitHub with the code that we've been using to generate some of the content. And the one ask that I have for you guys is, right now, this personal space is just a lonely HTML page somewhere on a website, right? And it's not connected to any social media. And so what would be great on top of YouTube is if there's anything that you think is great about this website, anything that you found value, it'd be great if you would consider following the Twitter of Holy Math Radio, which will cover any news that there is, because I'm just aware that it's just a lonely little thing. And yeah, if there's no way for me really to tell that there's an update other than if you follow on Twitter. So now I'm going to go through the different category and what there is to find on this website. So first, the landing page is the Mathematical Trinity, which is the video where we present the concept of numbers as the Trinity 0, 1 plus infinity. It's a mathematical concept. Instead of counting numbers from 1, you say just count numbers 1, 2, 3, and so starting from the natural numbers. Here we are performing the real numbering of 0, 1 plus infinity, allocating properties to each of these constants, and having the Trinity itself together define the numbers as we know them. And so the unit is not the starting point, the Trinity is the starting point, because the unit just, it primarily multiplies, but the addition comes from 0. And so to have 1 plus 1, so counting, it's actually a combination of 0 and 1. It's actually even a combination of plus infinity. You have this plus infinity that, to be generated, needs to have numbers that go toward it. And so that's the plus infinity uses the addition of 0 to add 1. So you have 1 plus 1 equal 2. And more generally, the natural numbers. And then you have the definition of plus infinity as not an equivalent class on diverging series, but something like this. So you have a mathematical concept that really explains numbers in a different way. And that is very efficient geometrically, and that has some aesthetic to it, and there's also some nice interpretation tied to it. So that's the concept of 0, 1 plus infinity. And Christopher Langen, which is known as the smartest man in America, author of the Cognitive Theoretic Model of the Universe, author of the FAQ about reality, about quantum meta mechanic, commented, very interesting. Such an analogy could also be understood in terms of the Hindu Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. And so, because we interpret 0, 1 plus infinity as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and so he just points out a different perspective that we can take on how to interpret the Trinity. So that's the main video. And then you have the critique of Dedekind cuts, which is really starting from a theory that we like, because it starts from the unit, counting the units with the natural numbers, and then define the real numbers with Dedekind cuts. It's really close to something that is geometric, which is something that is a great topic to share how we think about this and how we think 0-1 infinity complements and bring another perspective that we feel is stronger to define real numbers. And so this video is also something that we recommend to learn about our work. Then you have the Mathematical Trinity, which is a page where you really have the latest definition of numbers. You have numbers, how we decompose them with the extension and the sign, and how to interpret that, what's the best language to really make the connection that we feel you can make on these. And then you have 0 and the properties of 0, the Father. Then you have 1, the Son. And then you have plus infinity, which is the Holy Spirit. And you have the addition. You have the properties that I just talked about. You have the closure of extension or the addition, which makes it so that 1 plus 1 exists, and more generally, all the natural numbers exist, and more. And you have the definition of plus infinity, which is probably the most innovative part of our theory. And just by defining 0, 1, and plus infinity, and having the Trinity, you have a strong definition of real numbers that are defined directly as real numbers. And so we feel it's a concept that helps remove some of the issue that you have when you start building natural numbers, and numbers get stranger and stranger because natural numbers struggle to stay in the race and still define it. You really want to define real numbers based on my natural numbers? It's like start to get a very tough job. And so this is solving that by this theory removes that concern by defining real numbers from an irreducible form, 0, 1 plus infinity, that carries everything that you need to have the theory of real numbers as a complete ordered field. And that's for the Mathematical Trinity, and we'll make sure to always have the key element. We feel that's the cleanest definition of numbers, and we feel this page will be the cleanest description of this cleanest definition of numbers. So we'll update this page to make sure that the definition of numbers that we feel is the best is there at all time. Then you have the CTMU series gallery, which is we made some videos to explain the CTMU, and essentially what you have is you have the images that we've been using. Not only that, but you also have the prompt that we used in generative AI tools to get those images. And sometimes it's really simple, like show a picture of justice. That's just what we typed, and then we picked from a few options. And sometimes it's a bit more specific. Make the image of a Poincaré disk filled with numerous 3D pyramids, blah, blah, blah. Draw an angel on top of those pyramids. That's the sort of prompts. It can get a bit more technical to get the result that you have in the video. And so here you have the images and the prompts if you're curious about this. And we feel the third series shows a lot of things about the CTMU, about the basics. That's where we took a high-level approach of what there is to know about the CTMU, so triality, self-duality, map, MU, SESPL, static recursion, STOS, quadroperceptual syntax, logical-mathematical syntax, emotive syntax, a lot of stuff on the CTMU, so you might just be curious to go through them and learn about them. And finally, I'm sharing the GitHub with the code that we've been using manimgl package that is also used by 3Blue, 1Brown. And if you download that and you set up the project in the right way, and you need some specific thing. NumPy needs to be version 1.24. So there are a couple specific thing also, like on Mac. This is Mac, and it doesn't. It shows errors that I don't have on Windows. So like you'll see some errors there, but it actually works. So for example, I just display the code that we use to present the mathematical trinity, and it will just run as you've seen in the video. And so you have access to this code right now. It's a code that is monolithic, so it's like it is like pages of codes that is not really split up. There's commentary that's splitting it up, but that's a lot of code, just sequential. At some point, we'd like to split the scenes to maybe have the same view, but using the community edition of Manim, or maybe having them online. So we'll share any progress that we have here on this GitHub to make sure that you can also play with the code if you need to. And that's it. And to, again, you'll find the information. And if you can actually follow the Twitter, I think that will be a way to make this website not just a page somewhere, but somewhere where we can share updates. It won't be like frequent update every day, but every time there will be an update, it will be shared. And just to give an example, these images galleries, at first I wanted to share on Imgur, like having a social media aspect to it. But I don't know, it got, I guess, downvoted by a few people. So then my account is basically shadow bound. So you won't find the images or the content that we share on these websites other places, because sometimes social media rules or how it plays out makes it so that it's not even, it gets shadow bound. Or on Reddit, you won't find my mathematical work on Reddit. There's always, it's good enough, it's interesting for you guys on my channel, or interesting for even Christopher Langen, but it will not be interesting for some of these platforms, unfortunately. And I thought maybe it's just have been a bit unlucky, but also like some of the platform, let's check Imgur, and if you want to register on Imgur with your Twitter, what do they get access to? They'll see tweets from your timeline, including protected tweets, as well as your list and collections, your Twitter profile, account setting, accounts you follow, mute, and block, and your email address. That's a bit much to just see images. So again, I feel we'll have this website to make sure that we can share the content that we want, not going through some of the platforms that have some moderation that we won't fully control, or some policy that we don't fully agree with. And so here it goes. And maybe I'll just share a couple of thoughts as well on the Hindu Trinity, since I've never really touched on it. I understand mathematically 0, 1 plus infinity, and I understand it with the Trinity, the Holy Trinity of Christianity, for the interpretation of teleology. But I do see the potential in the Hindu Trinity already. So I have to think more of it, but I do see the potential. One thing is the Father. I think canonically, it is tied to addition. So you have 0 that brings addition, and so 0 plus equals 0 plus 0. It's just Father in repose. Because you look at it in terms of addition, it's just the Father in repose. And so that's how you understand the Father. Now, obviously, there's multiplication that comes from 1. That comes from 1 in our theory. But with multiplication, 0 becomes something that brings it, that 0 times anything, 0 times x equals 0. So there's an aspect where 0 becomes sort of a destroyer. And so Shiva, the trinity that is known as a destroyer, can be understood if you look at 0, but multiplicatively, which is, I don't think, it's not a canonical way to look at 0. I think in the trinities, multiplication belongs to 1, but it is there, and you have the same thing. So 1, the sun, will understand it multiplicatively. So that's what it brings to the trinity. And multiplicatively, you have the rules of the sign, with loving love is love, hiding hate is love. You have this sort of the golden rule. You have some nice things with 1, which tie it to the sun. But again, if you look at 1 additively, okay, if you look at 1 additively, then you sort of have 1 being not exactly reincarnated, but reproduced. And so Vishnu, which is the god of the Hindu, with reincarnation, can be understood as 1 when we look at it additively, right? And so, and we look at it multiplicatively, I think it's canonical, and it works very well to have I think the cleanest definition is 1 looking at it mostly multiplicatively. And then addition comes from the Trinity itself, comes from 0. And the Holy Spirit, same. Holy Spirit, there's 2 aspects of it. There's one aspect where you have the generation. So the Holy Spirit is all the way at the end of the line. So to exist as a transcendent supremum, it needs to have some series. And so it creates a divergent series by creating this addition of 1 plus 1 equal 2, and then all the rest, all the natural numbers. So there's a generation, and so the Holy Spirit as an attractor to the good, it makes a lot of sense. The Holy Spirit is also the point at plus infinity that is over there, that is in repose almost. And so the Holy Spirit ties really well to the closure of extension under addition. But if you look at the Holy Spirit as something that is in repose at plus infinity, almost created from the beginning, you can understand it by permitting the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but you can also understand it as Brahma, the Father in repose, the plus infinite. So essentially, there's a possibility where 0, 1 plus infinity, there's a structure that comes with an interpretation that ties well with an interpretation of Christianity. But there might be some collaboration to feel nicely some secondary aspect that you need, and that a little bit less natural to the canonical interpretation. So we see a lot of potential. We'll think more about it. We'll learn a little bit more as well about the Hindu Trinity. Obviously, Christopher Langen speaks about meta-religion with the structure that is valid for several religions. This definition of numbers might be sort of in the same category. It's bleeding edge, so again, it's not fully formed, but just wanted to share a few of my thoughts as the potential that we see in the Hindu Trinity. But this is where I'll maintain the cleanest definition, and I will want to also make sure that, because the definition is not about just writing symbols on a paper, it's actually visualizing, all of it. And so I'll try to create some animation online where you can see sort of what you see on this video, to have it more accessible on a page. So that'll be probably a project that will come, and appreciate if you can follow on YouTube and on X to make sure that I can get access to an audience when I share this result, and that many people that would be interested to see it actually see it, because of the network that we've created. And that's it. I hope you'll find some great value in this content, and I'll see you next time.